Commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowls. And I just never forget, as a kid, watching all the Super Bowl games and watching Monday Night Football, and my mom said, "It's time to go to bed." But I said, "No, Mom, I want to play pro football one day." And I never would have ever thought that when my dad took me outside to kind of throw the ball around, that this ball would have taken me places.
Our first award this evening is usually presented by Ted Rubenstein, the brother of our late executive director, Michael Rubenstein. Regretfully, Ted is unable to be here this evening, but the award is named in Michael's honor and is given to someone who has made a lasting impact on local, state, or a national level. Tyrone Keys, a member of the Hall of Fame class of 2009, is this year's winner. 25 years ago, this 7-year NFL veteran established the All-Sport Community Service Incorporated. Since that time, ASCS has raised millions of dollars to aid those looking for mentors in both the Tampa Bay and the Mississippi areas. ASCS is a way to highlight the power of educators to bring a multicultural, intergenerational mentor model to bear fruit for families, communities, and the world. At an early age, Tyrone recognized those that helped him along his path to manhood. Now he is working to provide mentorship and guidance to those young people in need of a push in the right direction. Tyrone is the 7th to receive this award, joining former winners Dave Boo Ferris, Ben Puckett, Archie Manning, George Bryan, Governor William Winter, and Ron Polk. Tyrone continues to connect with the roots from his beginnings to the present times. Let's bring up Mr. Tyrone Keys.
But I want to tell young students, the ball without education and without the proper mentoring is a disaster. So I encourage the young people that they have to develop character, because football by itself is a non-transferable skill. But you can take everything that you learn from the coaches and the teachers, you can take with you and you can apply it, and you can parlay the game from the playing field to the game of life, and then come back and help the next generation on their journey.
This was earlier today in the Bear locker room as the Bears packed in preparation to go to New Orleans for the Super Bowl engagement with the Patriots. That's Tyrone Keys getting his gear together. We're just hard by the side of that locker room. We're in the weight room of the Bears.
This time is where Buddy Ryan has a new wrinkle, and that is to put Tyrone Keys in on passing down. They have their foot
direction. Taken away by Tyrone Keys.
that was part of their package. That was part of the scheme. He's 6'8", and he batted it down.
Ahead 17-0, the stage was set for one final magic moment.
And now the winner that everybody talked about.
I wonder if they're
finally arrived.
Maybe they're cheering for the snow.
The best thing about that day was the last fumble.
Third down, 11 yards to go for Dieter Brock and company. Brock back to pass, the rush on for Mr. Kevin. And hammered down. He got the ball. Picked up by Wilbur Marshall. Marshall running across the field. Go! 30, 20. This one all the way. 15, all right. 5, touchdown. What a goal.
Oh, man. What a way to end.
Oh, Wilbur Marshall has scored for the Chicago Bears.
I can still see it in slow motion when Wilbur Marshall picks up the ball. The Fridge is leading him down the field, and we all are just running with him.
Fridge ain't losing no ground now. He's right with him.
You can't write a script for this, just the way it all ended.
Not to get theatrical, but I mean, how better can you write a script here for crying out loud?
And the snow starts coming down, and the fans went absolutely crazy.
The Bears were going to their first Super Bowl. Mike Ditka's thoughts turned to Papa Bear George Halas, the man who had hired him to get them there.
And I think right there, the old man was saying, we've come full circle, guys. We've come full circle. That's the first time since '63.
A teacher's gift is knowing that a student has reached his or her fullest potential. And to top that off is knowing that that student is able to return this back to the community. And Tyrone has certainly fulfilled my dream as a teacher.
My journey got started here at Dawson Elementary School, and that's why I'm back here today, is to share with the students, to let them see the fruit. And I wanted to also share with them the root. So you were the root here at the school. My parents was the root at home. And I want teachers to know around the country that it's the positive words and it's the seeds that they plant within the heart of the students. And it can come full circle if both people come together as one.
This necessitates an excellent teacher to terminate her services with a given school system. As was the case of Mrs. Mary W. Hagan, a Jackson Public School elementary teacher in a predominantly black school, who was greeted with tears from her class of mixed pupils when they were informed that she was leaving. And in questioning some of the children as to why the sadness, they responded with, "She taught us and we learned, she loved, she respected us." She had to sustain her emotions when she entered her classroom Friday morning to find, written on her blackboard, "You have certainly helped my people." This was written by the janitor. On her last day of service, Mrs. Hagan gave to all her pupils and their parents an original writing by her entitled "Love Is." An excerpt from it reads, "Love is knowing your students love you. Love is being honest with one another. And to aid the teacher who is to replace her Monday," she wrote, "love is a new teacher next Monday." Mrs. Hagan will continue her services as a public school teacher in the Baton Rouge public school system this year.
I can't believe this phone call.
Why is that? I'm telling you, it's been how many years?
Since 1970, so that's quite a while.
Tyrone Keys, a former Mississippi State football player, came back to this his hometown, his native town, met with the school that he went to, the elementary school, met with kids and spoke to them about believing and achieving, and it's a really inspirational story behind Tyrone. But it's not solely Tyrone's story, it's a lesson and a living lineage and how sometimes The smallest people can make the largest, lasting impact. As a football player, Tyrone Key's journey led him through SEC domination at Mississippi State and Super Bowl glory in the NFL. Yet through all of his triumphs and success, he never forgot about this woman, Mary Hagan, Key's 6th grade teacher. The teacher to whom he owed so much had no awareness of the impact she had made.
She expanded our awareness of what the possibilities could be. And over the years, I always thought about her.
To be honest with you, I did not know, I have a clue that this impact had reached the level it did until after we started talking.
What makes Mrs. Hagan and our story so different is because of the circumstances and because of the fact that she could have said, adios, I'm gone, in 1971 in Jackson, Mississippi, and in the heart of the heat of the civil rights movement, and her compassion for us and her courage to travel back and forth from this community to her community, I just never forgot it. You know, back in our era, when Martin Luther King had that famous quote, it's not the content of your skin, but the content of your character. She came in and she represented what true character is.
As a teacher, I think it's our obligation to try to help students to learn what their gifts may be, and that their rewards may not come at the end of the day, their 9 weeks, the year, but the impressions they make from day to day, minute to minute, will be for life.
It was 25 years ago that we were right here with the Chicago Bears, and we did it. We did our thing. I never forget it. Mike Dicker, Buddy Ryan called us up, and Walter Payton and Singletary called us up right before the game, and we all looked at each other and said, we're going to lay it on the line. And then that's what we did. We knelt down, and we looked each man in the eye, and we said, hey, everybody give it their best. We'd come back and we'd be crowned world champions. We came back, we were actually world champions at halftime, 35-6. I always tell people I got my Super Bowl ring at halftime. But anyways, tonight we're here for a bigger purpose, and that's the purpose of teachers. Teachers are like, everybody has a teacher. It's like every living thing has a seed. Everything that's living was born from a seed. And so everybody that's living had to come from seed. And so tonight we're here to honor champions, and I'm here to honor somebody who actually poured a lot of love and compassion in my heart. But at the same time, she laid it on the line back when it was not fashionable to lay it on the line, because back in 1968, you had Martin Luther King, who was shot and killed for taking a cause. You had Robert Kennedy, and so people were actually dying. And Mrs. Hagan came up, and she laid it on the line.
After 47 years, I still had the class roll. And for a reason I cannot explain, I had a small mark next to Tyrone's name. I also had the copy of the poem I had left for them.
And then down at the end of the line, she mentioned, love is when one of your students come to visit. Now, I'm here. It took me 39 years, but I'm here.
I can't believe this is happening after talking to Tyrone a few weeks ago, and he said he could make this happen, and he had found you, and this is unbelievable. It really is. I mean, to go back and to be able to talk to your 6th grade teacher, and that's something. I mean, after all these years, that's really something, because I never would in a million years thought this would happen. We learned a lot from you. I talk about you to this day. I'm going to tell you, Miss Hagan, you definitely left an impression on me.
We had no idea what part we were playing in history, did we?
No, we did not.
At the time. It's a good thing. We'd have probably turned and run the other way or something. But it all worked out. It all worked out.
Well, you know, you're a special person with a big heart, with one of those kinds of love, you know, for people, for your students. I think that just speaks for people, just has an impact on people.
Well, it's just wonderful hearing from you.
Oh, same here.
One of the students that I so much admired when I went to Tampa was a young man named LeBron. He was in a wheelchair. He had been in a terrible car accident, had a lot of adversity issues to deal with, and he told me this story while we were at Tampa Digital preparing some of these videos, that he had to stay in the hospital for a long time after this car accident, and he had a lot of nurturing at the hospital. The nurses were very good to him, as well as all the other people. But finally the day came for him to go home. And so he was sitting in his apartment in the dark, hot, wondering, what's going to happen to me? Well, it just so happened that Tyrone and his wife had gone out to eat. And at the restaurant, they ran into one of his nurses who said, we know a young man that needs your help. So he said, well, do you have a phone number? So the nurse gave him the phone number, but they said, we've been trying to reach him for quite a while, and the number doesn't work anymore. So Tyrone went home, dialed that number, it worked. This young man answered the phone, so sad and gloomy. And Tyrone said, hey, what you doing in the morning? Nothing. He said, how about eating breakfast with me? I said, oh, well, that's great. So the next morning, this young man who had nothing was eating breakfast with the Buccaneers. This young man won the Volunteer of the Year award with the Buccaneers this past year for his service with All Sports Community Service.
Our life, you know, so I do it every day to encourage everyone that's going through to still stand. My motto is no excuses. If you're living, don't just live for yourself, you know, live to help and enhance others as well.
And we went in there, we watched, remember, facing Giants, and you know, I look at Tony, and I'm so proud of him because he's done things that I couldn't even have ever dreamed of doing. So the mentee should always surpass the mentee. So I'm proud of him. You know, it's only the beginning for him. He has great things to do in the future, and I'm like a proud big brother right now.
To witness the journey. Each one passes